CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the cleanup efforts here in London after a severe storm swept across the region. This is a time-lapse video of what it looked like from our CTV tower cam approaching our studios here in South London just before 6 p.m. Environment Canada issued a tornado warning around that time. This was the scene out in East London. Officials from both London Hydro and the London Fire Department are reporting multiple downed trees and power lines causing several outages. According to London Hydro, the utility's entire forestry crew were called in to help clean up and restore power. Some residents got their own chainsaws out as well, helping clear down trees from the road. At this point, there have been no reports of any injuries, and locals in the area said there was little evidence of serious property damage. For more on this, here's Julie Atchison.
Good evening. We had a round of severe weather move through southern Ontario as we pushed past 4 to 5 p.m. I wanted to show you the radar image that we were looking at when the tornado warning was issued. Now, we're not expecting severe weather overnight, but this is in advance of a cold front. So as we push towards 7 o'clock, it moved through Elgin County, Tillsonburg, Norfolk County as well, and tornado warnings were issued for many counties in our region. This is all in advance of a cold front that'll continue to make the move across southern Ontario overnight. Coming up, the heat and humidity are history. Tomorrow, temperatures will be dropping through the overnight. I'll take you through that forecast in just a few minutes.
Thanks very much, Julie. To the London courthouse, where a former Woodstock mayor was sentenced today for a sexual assault conviction. With more on how long Trevor Birch will spend behind bars, here's Nick Paparella.
A London courtroom heard how after serving 2 terms as the mayor of Woodstock, the life of Trevor Birch started to unravel between 2017 and 2022. Birch, a 51-year-old divorced father of 3, started intimate relationships with several women. Fueled by drugs and alcohol, in 2 separate cases, he sexually assaulted the women. In handing down his sentence in one of the cases, Justice Spencer Nicholson said, "Mr. Birch, this case represents what I consider to be a catastrophic fall from grace. The depths to which you have fallen is truly remarkable and quite saddening." Convicted on 2 counts of sexual assault, the court heard how he attacked one victim while she slept, with Justice Nicholson saying Mr. Birch was only interested in his own sexual gratification. He went on to say the victim was a very vulnerable person. She suffered from depression. As a person with limited financial means, she was susceptible to Mr. Birch's promises of favors as the mayor of Woodstock. Justice Nicholson went on to say, Mr. Birch, you treated the victim like she was your property, or worse, your pet, that you could do whatever you wanted to her when you wanted. She was treated like an abused animal. She was not. The judge then handed Birch a sentence of 4 years and 8 months in prison. After this, Birch's legal woes will continue because in the other case of sexual assault, which initially ended in a mistrial, Birch eventually pled guilty to 1 count of sexual assault and 1 of assault. The court has heard that he'll be sentenced on June 16th, with any prison term running concurrently. Before he was led away, Justice Nicholson added, I am going to recommend that you be provided access to treatment for both drugs and alcohol addiction. I don't know if you can climb back up, but I do hope that you try for your own sake. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Sarnia's police chief has been suspended from his position with pay. That decision as the Sarnia Police Board announced an independent investigation into a workplace harassment complaint against the chief. Brian Bicknell reports.
In a news release, the Sarnia Police Service Board says it has initiated a formal independent investigation following a workplace harassment complaint filed against Chief Derek Davis. The board says, effective immediately, Chief Davis has been suspended with pay pending the outcome of the investigation. This suspension is a standard administrative procedure to ensure a fair, transparent, and unbiased investigation process and does not imply any determination determination of wrongdoing.
Well, it's a stunning development.
Sarnia Mayor Mike Bradley says he learned of the news Tuesday morning at the same time the general public was informed. Davis was given the job in 2022 when Bradley was a member of the board. The mayor has since stepped down.
I ironically left the police board because I did not like spending and the attitude of the new chief at that time, who now is being suspended. However, he's entitled to fair process, and we'll see that unfold.
Last year, Davis and the police board lobbied for a new $90 million police headquarters approved by council but vetoed by Mayor Bradley. Last month, the chief filed a $1.5 million defamation suit against the owner of the Sarnia Journal, which had been publicly critical of the chief. The board is paying Davis's legal costs with public funding. Earlier this year, Davis's contract was extended to 2032, while the Police Association and its 230 uniform and civilian members have been without a contract since mid-2023. I
hear almost daily from officers and civilians about the morale or lack of it. It's been a very top-down administration, almost like a 1950s, 60s style of administration, not taking into account modern policing and how you deal with your employees and how you deal with the issues, many issues they have. They've been sitting without a contract for a number of years, and that's not a good sign of good labor relations.
CTV News reached out to Chief Davis, who says it's too early to comment on the investigation, and he doesn't yet know the details of the complaint himself. In the meantime, the police board did not disclose the nature of the complaint and said it would not provide further comment. Chair Kelly Ash tells CTV News the board is in the midst of obtaining a commitment with a workplace investigation law firm to conduct the investigation. Deputy Chief Mike Van Sickle assumes the position of acting chief. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
St. Thomas police say they arrested 4 teenagers accused of breaking into a jewelry store. According to police, 4 people wearing masks smashed the front of Muscat Jewelers on Talbot Street before busting multiple cabinets open and stealing several items. Police say about an hour and a half later, those 4 suspects were involved in a crash on the 401 while driving a stolen vehicle, and they were arrested by OPP with canine units. They now face several charges, while the store owners say they will keep the business closed while they assess the losses and damages. OPP and Oneida Nation of the Thames Police say they're investigating a shooting from this past weekend. They say officers were called to a home on Bodkin Road late Sunday night. By Monday morning, detectives and forensic teams were on the scene. A notice was sent to First Nation residents saying police had initiated a weapons investigation which revealed someone fired a gun toward a residence. No injuries were reported, though, and they say they believe it was an isolated incident. Officials at London City Hall say they believe the death 2 weeks ago at the micro shelter was unpreventable.
Doesn't appear that that's the case, that there was anything we could have done to prevent this death, but that doesn't prevent us from looking at the policies and procedures to see what needs to be tweaked or modified, ramped up, ramped down.
Sources have told CTV News the person died from a suspected drug overdose the night of May 4th, but they weren't discovered until noon on May 6th. London's deputy city manager says no amount of cabin inspections could have avoided the death. Abstinence from drugs is not required to secure space in the shelter. However, officials say they do provide recovery options.
We have a fully running Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous right on site at the micro shelter. We've got a number of people who've actually got into recovery services and they're on medication to curb their opioid addiction. So yes, we've had a tragedy, but we're also seeing well over a dozen success stories so far of people getting into treatment and recovery services on site.
Mixed reaction to a new supportive housing development at the site of the former Bob Hayward YMCA. The property has been sold, which means substantial changes are on the way for the neighborhood. As Sean Irvin reports, some of those neighbors aren't on board.
A pathway has already formed on the site of the former Fairmont Public School in London's East End. It's now an open space appreciated by neighborhood residents.
It is a nice green space. There's a lot of times that I find kids out here just playing like kickball and stuff like that, which is really nice to see.
But much of this site is slated to be redeveloped into apartments and townhomes, including affordable and supportive housing. The latter project announced Friday will see the former Bob Hayward YMCA redeveloped into 100 units.
So you have to have more houses, so it's got an open field, you got an empty building there, you need to use it.
Now, off camera, multiple residents told us they're supportive of any type of affordable housing development on this land as long as some space remains open for public use. But still others are not happy at all with this proposal, with some even saying they're considering moving. Well, that reaction may be an exception. Even those in support of the project have reservations.
The one thing that is very, I think, a fear necessarily in this neighborhood is bringing down everybody's housing.
They don't really like it. I think they're kind of upset by it, but I think we do need it, and it's a good area for it to be.
Last week, City Councillor Hadley McAllister welcomed the projects while adding a stipulation that future large-scale affordable housing projects should be created citywide.
I think the East End has done its part.
Many of his constituents agree.
They should have more of it all over the city instead of just one area like they have been doing.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
The owners of a Norwich retirement home that closed abruptly 2 years ago have pleaded guilty to not providing adequate notice. Trillium Care officials told residents on October 26, 2024 that they were ceasing operations 17 days later. Under provincial law, they were required to provide at least 120 days notice before shutting down facilities. The owners have agreed to pay more than $22,000 in restitution to a fund designed to help residents find accommodations during emergencies. A fire broke out yesterday at a church near downtown London, an hours-long ordeal for firefighters trying to salvage the historic building.
Crews were dispatched about 3 o'clock this morning. They arrived. There was heavy smoke throughout the neighborhood. We had smoke and fire in the building. So we set up crews. We started on an offensive attack, but we were quickly turned into a defensive attack. Probably about 10 minutes after we arrived, it came through the roof. So we were strictly defensive for the rest of the day. We had 2 aerial units here, about 6 fire pumps here throughout the night and into the morning. There is a heavy load inside of storage materials, so we dealt with a lot of combustibles inside. So the interior of the building is heavily compromised, so we can't do any interior firefighting. So it's in walls, so we're trying to get at it from the outside. So we're going to be monitoring it for the better part of today, just to make sure that there's no hot spots that flare up. The bulk of the fire is at the back. The fire didn't actually get into the church itself, to the best of my knowledge. There's smoke damage at the front of the building, but the fire was all contained to the rear.
Unionized workers with Community Living London could soon hit the picket lines. Before resorting to that, though, they're spending this week pressuring provincial politicians demanding higher pay. With more, here's Jerry Dewan.
Members of OPSU Local 166 were in Woodstock Tuesday afternoon outside the office of Oxford MPP Ernie Hardeman, at one point going inside.
Wouldn't even give us 2 minutes of his time. Shame!
The Community Living London workers were among the thousands of public service workers in Ontario that had their salaries frozen by the Ford government's Bill 124. When the courts ruled the bill unconstitutional, many employee groups collected a 6.5% retroactive salary increase.
Like the LCBO, corrections officers, some educations and some hospital members received the 6.5.
Fuster says those sectors have provincial collective bargaining.
They go to the table with thousands and thousands, but for community livings, we individually go to the table to our employer to try to get the money, and they don't have it. They are underfunded.
Fuster says approximately 600 Community Living London workers could be on the picket line Monday, and there are 26 locals representing about 4,500 members across the province that could also go out. The workers support people with intellectual disabilities, staffing group homes, running day programs, and providing employment supports.
They're paying taxes. They're out there feeling like they're part of their community. You get a lot of buy-in from the employers.
The impending strike is already having an impact on the vulnerable population.
I support 4 gentlemen that are currently being packed up to move out of their homes.
Jackie Campbell works at a group home. She worries about the upheaval residents are facing and how they'll deal with replacement workers.
They suffer from anxiety. These are unfamiliar staff that will be going in, working with these people.
Some worry the replacement workers being brought in won't be prepared to deal with the more challenging behavioral issues.
People can be attacked and physically hurt. We have WSIB claims all the time, weekly. We have members that have to wear specialized helmets, Kevlar.
This is the first of 3 demonstrations being held outside of the offices of Conservative MPPs this week. On Wednesday, they'll be in front of Rob Flack's office in St. Thomas, and on Thursday, outside of Steve Pinsonneau's office in Strathroy. The workers are hoping to avoid the picket line on Monday, but aren't optimistic. In Woodstock, Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
Still ahead, the latest inflation numbers heading in the wrong direction. What's behind the trend and what it could mean for interest rates when we come back. Welcome back on the desk with Julie now after a day, a late afternoon of severe weather here in London and across much of this region as we were watching it just really sweep across the region quickly.
Yeah, these warnings popped up. We had these stronger upper level winds. We had all the dynamics and Environment Canada issuing all those warnings. Now, in terms of damage in parts of our region, I've seen numerous videos coming into my inbox in and around Belmont. We were seeing things, Dorchester, St. Thomas. So some of these storms moving through, packing a punch, reports of funnel clouds as well. So we're going to sift through all of that, of course, for you. But in terms of our temperature today, it was 27 Carlyle out there. So it was extremely hot and humid. We had that heat alert in effect. So we had ripe conditions for severe weather, and the severe weather materialized across much of southern Ontario with heavy downpours, damaging wind gusts and hail. Heading through the overnight, I know you're hoping for quiet conditions, but we do have the risk for some showers as we push through overnight, and we can't rule out a thunderstorm until about 1 a.m. and then the chance will start to drop off. So this is the cold front, and it stretches all the way in through central Quebec down into the southern plains, and severe weather ramping up in advance of it. The air mass that was in place over the weekend was extremely hot and humid, with humidex into the mid-30s. Today, the humidex towards Windsor approaching 40. So showers, thunderstorms will be moving on out overnight, but tomorrow morning we could still see some rainfall towards Sarnia and London first thing in the morning, overcast conditions, but by about 10 to 11 a.m. mainly cloudy, and then we'll start to see the cloud cover break up as we head into your Wednesday afternoon. In terms of your forecast, Wednesday evening looks pleasant if you do have some outdoor sporting events. I know this time of year we start to plan a lot of things around sports at night, so if you are heading outdoors, even if you're just an outdoor walker, tomorrow evening looks quite pleasant. And heading into Thursday, we do have lots of sunshine in the forecast. So the forecast for Thursday evening looks nice as well. It's going to be cooler overnight, so we haven't seen a sharp drop in temperature just yet, but we will as we head towards the early morning. Temperatures drop into the single digits, so we'll dip down between about 6-7 degrees, and along the northern shoreline of Lake Erie, the temperature 10. As we head into Wednesday afternoon, 11 degrees. It's going to be cool. Again, starting the day with cloud cover and the chance of showers, a mix of sun and cloud by noon, and mainly sunny in the afternoon. We get back into the double digits, but a sharp change from how hot and humid it was today. Thursday, lots of sunshine and 19, back to 19 on Friday. Mainly cloudy. Friday night, we could see some rain move in. We have rain in the forecast this Saturday with gusty winds. Showers on Sunday and heating back up Monday, Tuesday. This time of year, things change very fast. We start to see the heat and warmth return quite quickly. So the unofficial kickoff to summer over the long weekend delivered the summery weather, although we do have a brief pause as we head into the day tomorrow with temperatures cool. 16 on Thursday with a mix of sun and cloud, and then rain Friday night. Rain on Saturday with gusty winds and the chance for showers on Sunday. Back into a mix of sun and cloud Monday and Tuesday. Hopefully you got through that severe weather event at your home unscathed. I know there were some reports of a lot of patio furniture and things whipping around our area. Heading through the overnight, calmer conditions expected with just the chance for showers as we head into the early morning hours. Carlyle, back to you.
Thank you, Julie. We're approaching the one-year anniversary of a fatal crash near Dorchester that killed 4 Walkerton students and their teacher. Their friends and families have started foundations or memorial funds in their honor, and this week we'll be profiling those. With Danica Baker's story, here's Scott Miller.
Danica Baker was one of the happiest people Matt Pickett has ever met.
She was a bubbly, charismatic, fun-loving, just everything you would wish for in a child in your family.
Baker was one of 4 Walkerton area students killed alongside their coach in a crash near Dorchester last May 23rd. They were on their way back from a school softball tournament. Baker enjoyed softball, but volleyball was her real passion. The 16-year-old from Mildmay quickly becoming a leader amongst the Blue Water Ballistics family.
She'd always be the first one there on court. She'd always be the one working hard. And she would always be funny. She was just like, it can't be lost in all the grief, just how funny Danica was.
To honor Baker, her ballistics volleyball family started the Danica Baker Memorial Bursary Fund last September. It's meant to assist families who need financial assistance to play ballistics volleyball, as well as support players in their post-secondary school pursuits.
So we thought it was a great way to honor her memory. And to ensure that those down the road know what number 11 was all about. And you can see just in behind me, number 11, holds a big part in our organization.
Danica's number 11 jersey wasn't retired by ballistics, rather revered as a symbol of hard work and kindness.
She was just a stand-up kid, a real loss to the community, to the club, to the school, to everybody.
Foundations or memorial funds have been created for all 5 victims of last May's tragedy.
The immediate reaction of grief is extreme sadness, community outpouring of support, club support, everybody not knowing what to do to honor these young people and their teacher. I think over the course of the year, a little bit of healing comes from knowing that you're trying to do something positive for the living.
All this week, I'll be profiling the foundations created by the friends and families of the 5 victims of last May's tragedy. Students Danica Baker, Rowan McLeod, Cadence Ford, Olivia Rourke, and coach-teacher Matt Eckert.
It won't be the end of a chapter. It's sort of the beginning of a memory.
In Walkerton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index moved lower in trading today. The TSX lost 92 points. In New York, the Dow dropped 322. The Nasdaq fell 220. The Canadian dollar down a modest 0.03 cents. On commodity markets, gold is down almost $47 an ounce. Oil fell 23 cents a barrel. The latest inflation numbers show the cost of living rising higher, primarily driven by volatile oil markets and soaring gas prices. From March to April, the rate increased from 2.4% to 2.8%. John Vandervalley-Rao reports.
In Toronto, where gas prices are well over $1.90, many motorists we spoke with said they worry they'll go even higher.
Absolutely ridiculous. I wish I had more to say, but it's just honestly, it's too much. It's crazy.
In my own vehicle, I noticed that I don't drive as much.
And the latest headline inflation number, driven largely by the soaring cost of energy. Last month, up 19% compared to a year ago. Gasoline up 28% because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and the switch over to a more expensive summer blend of gas.
The bottom line is, we've got oil prices that are nearly double where they were at the beginning of the year.
Groceries were also more expensive, though food inflation, which was 4% in March, eased to 3.5% in April, with Statistics Canada noting the pace of price hikes eased for grocery items such as fresh vegetables, chicken, coffee, and tea. Still, many continue to struggle at the checkout counter.
I'm always scouring like the discount apps or, the discount aisle kind of thing and, trying to save $1 where I can.
Rents were also up, but at a slower pace, rising 3.6% year over year. And some items were on the decline, including travel tours. Experts think the higher fuel costs just haven't filtered into the price of many items. But some also believe higher energy costs may actually be pushing down prices elsewhere as consumers spend less.
Because of those higher fuel costs, people have less money to spend on other things. So prices are easing in other areas.
Meanwhile, economists say with inflation outside of gas and food prices relatively tame, it'll take pressure off of the Bank of Canada to raise interest rates. John Vandervalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
CTV News London has a newsletter helping you start your day with the latest local headlines. By signing up, you'll get local news content from CTV London direct to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewslondon.ca. Finally tonight, a Canadian artist putting the finishing touches on a World Cup tribute. As Andrew Johnson reports, it's meant as a shining spotlight on a symbolic team comprised entirely of players who were once child refugees.
2 years after first picking up a brush, Carlyle Jackson was painting full-time. Her self-taught method boils down to this.
So I use Renaissance techniques on athletes.
But what she's working on in her downtown Vancouver studio represents something much bigger than just her brush strokes.
Germany, Canada, Bosnia, Iraq, France, Australia.
Jackson is bringing to life a symbolic soccer team for the UN Human Rights Agency, made up of pro players with refugee backgrounds, athletes whose childhoods were shaped by war, displacement, or violence before they rose to the top of the sport. They are pictured standing alongside their younger selves, which requires some guesswork by the artist.
9 of these players did not have any photos of them when they were little. So they've nothing. So this is the first time they're going to see themselves when they were little.
The team's captain is Canada's captain, Alphonso Davies, who was born in a refugee camp in Ghana 5 years before his family settled in Edmonton.
It's a place where they gave my family safety. They welcome us in with open arms. If you give refugee an opportunity to be who they are, they'll become, amazing people.
The project is a perfect fit for Jackson, whose own soccer career was ended by injury. She then paired her lifelong interest in human rights and fighting injustice with art and sport.
My goal was to be able to get to a point where I could do 50-50 human rights and sports and use the money I make from sports to pay for human rights projects.
Jackson believes she is now the most commissioned sports artist in the world.
There's not been a single woman who's made it this far, so I love that. Women are paid 4% of what men make in the art world, similar to sports.
Ahead of the FIFA World Cup, this painting will soon hang at the UN headquarters in New York, and a copy will be on display at Toronto's Union Station, part of the More Than a Game campaign, celebrating how the sport can help refugees build new lives.
When people are given safety and opportunity, they can achieve the impossible.
These 11 athletes are the proof. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.